Hello, Ray.
Hello.
Can you test the audio for me, please?
Test. Rob Coons. Good.
Yes, thank you.
All right, good morning. Thanks everybody for being here. Just got off the field and heard the great news about Chancellor Blank rejoining the Wildcat family. So I want to congratulate her and welcome her family back to Northwestern. Look forward to obviously building a relationship, and I've been very fortunate now over my time to have amazing support from our presidents, and look forward to building that relationship as time goes along. I've already texted Chancellor Blank welcoming her, and her response obviously got me excited. She's excited to get down here next year. So a lot of time between now and then to start that relationship. I want to welcome her. And also excited for homecoming this weekend. I've got a lot of my teammates and coaches coming back to celebrate the reunions of the 95 and 96 teams that we weren't able to have last year. So it'll be exciting to see everybody and, celebrate homecoming for a lot of our alums. This is the only chance they may be able to make it back to campus. So we're excited to welcome them to Ryan Field. I thought we had a productive bye week. We had to get, rested up for some guys. We put the pedal down for some other guys that are in the depth, and as we continue to build depth. And I thought we had some really competitive practices. And then, our staff got out and hit the road, nationally early in the week. And then, obviously here in Chicagoland on Friday and Saturday. Was able to make a couple of games and then take in my boys' games on Saturday. So that was exciting. I think Rutgers is playing really good football. Greg and I are very good friends. We've known each other for a long time. I've got terrific respect for him, and he's doing a great job. You saw his DNA as it changed a year ago watching him play, and now to see how physical they are, how fast they're playing. And just really being explosive on offense and creative, and then, really disruptive, physical on defense. And then, they can score touchdowns in the punt return, kick return game, and then put a lot of pressure on you with what they do with their punt team. And the same thing, what they'll do with their kickoff coverage unit that's really creative in their coverage schemes. So, a lot of pressure on us to be able to execute a lot better than we did in Lincoln. And give ourselves a chance to win a football game by executing cleaner and taking care of the football and taking it away. So with that, I'll answer any questions that you all may have.
First question, Paul Banks.
Pat, how's it going?
Great, Paul. How are you, buddy?
Before we get to football, I want to start up a little bit about our Sox. Did you stay up last night to watch the game? And how do you think the White Sox are going to do? Do you think they're going to come back?
Well, first of all, I stayed up for a little while. We start early here, so I felt pretty confident when we went up 9-6. So I put that on my two boys oldest boys who have today off. So they were to come wake me up if something catastrophic happened. So I got a good night's sleep. Absolutely, we're going to win today. I think we got great momentum. I thought it was a great showcase of the great Southside fans last night. It was rocking. And it was fun to watch once I got home after we got done with our initial game planning last night.
Yeah, I was out there in the outfield. It was a great atmosphere. So my football question is, what do you think are going to be the keys to shore up the run defense? And then how much do you think things might turn around once you kind of get that locked down, if you can?
Well, we got to be better on the perimeter. We obviously have given up the edge on a number of occasions and not been able to fit it properly. So that starts with us as coaches schematically and, looking at things and how we're doing it and the way we're teaching it. And then most importantly, how we're fitting it and what we're asking our guys to do to make sure we're playing to their strengths. And then, internally, we've got to just across the board, just be more physical as a defense. I think that's one of the things that we've talked a lot about here since the season started, and we still haven't put that all together completely. So just playing more physical gap sound defense.
Thanks, Pat.
Thanks, Paul. Good luck. I hope you're going today.
I'm planning to. Hopefully the rain stays away so I can.
Let it rain and let's play however long they let them play. So go Sox.
Hell yeah, go White Sox.
There's only one Sox.
Drew Schatt.
Hey, Coach. Hope all is well. Can you speak a little bit about Ryan Hilinski's development? I remember Big Ten Media Days, you spoke about his performance in the summer and kind of starting third on the depth chart to elevating where he is as a starter. Kind of how have you seen his performance improve over the time that he's been in Evanston? And really, what do you think are the best qualities of his game that kind of give your offense a chance to move down the field and compete in these Big Ten contests?
Oh, I think he, first of all, has showed incredible toughness. I thought that was highlighted with the way he played a couple of weeks ago. And again, anytime you're new to a system, it just takes time to learn it. And he's been relentless in that work ethic. And doing a good job taking care of the football. And I think that's important. And that's something that as you get more comfortable and confident in the offense, you kind of are an extension of the coordinator. You're able to kind of answer or, be able to see the signal and know what the end of the play is before it even comes in. It allows you then to execute and play fast and put the ball in your playmaker's hands. And I think as, he continues to grow in the system and continues to become more and more confident, big plays will continue to happen. And he's made some explosive plays down the field for us, which are going to need to continue to win Big Ten games.
Drew, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, just specifically about the system. Can you speak a little bit about when he first got to Evanston, kind of where he was in terms of the system and if he was struggling with anything? And can you compare that to now with kind of what you think his strengths are?
Yeah, Drew, what are you majoring in, bud?
Journalism, poli-sci.
Journalism, right. So remember your first journalism class? I mean, you didn't have it right away, did you? Right? You had to study and just learn what was expected in the class. And at a certain point, you probably went into a midterm knowing you got a perfect score. You probably messed the curve up for everybody like me that was in your class, that was probably got like a 50 and I could have used some points. So, I just think regardless if you're a guy that transfers in or a first or even a redshirt, freshman within the system, your first time playing within it, there's just a ton of experiences that you need to go through its growth. And it may look externally like some guys aren't doing it right. And at times you don't. And I look at, momentary failure as an opportunity for growth. And I've seen it in him and I've seen it in a lot of our guys. We've got to get and across the board, our entire football team to just be more consistent. Quarterback position is one of them, but it's across the board. It's equally shared amongst the entire squad. Thanks for messing the curve up for me.
Austin Siegel.
Coach, you touched on it in your opening remarks, but I wanted to follow up. What does it mean to have the 95 and 96 teams back this weekend?
Well, Austin, it'll be great to see a lot of my teammates on Friday. We'll have a reception for them and for the coaches too that especially the last 2 years with COVID, we haven't had a chance to spend a lot of time together. So, that'll be number one. It's an honor and it's a privilege to be a part of those two teams. And, to see my brothers and to see the coaches and their families, I couldn't be more excited to see everyone. And then, from a standpoint of, celebration of, the two teams that really kind of, I think, changed the trajectory of our program. We had a lot of guys in the 70s and 80s that didn't have the support that we had. And the credit goes to Coach Barnett and his staff. And so it'll be great to see all of them and just feel really honored to represent and be a part of that group. As we get a little older, the fish stories get a little bigger and bigger, but it's just a terrific group of men. They're great husbands and great fathers and great community members. And I wouldn't be here where I'm at today without those guys. And I definitely wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Coach Brandon recruiting me, Coach Vanderlinden, who coached me, and Coach Barnett giving me the opportunity. I feel very grateful.
Michael Fitzpatrick.
Hey, Coach. Defense has had a rough go of it so far, 41.3 points per game given up against Power 5 opponents. How did you use the bye week to kind of rework things, try and get that unit back on track for the final 7 games?
Well, you start with fundamentals first. We looked at a lot of things that we were doing fundamentally, and we then looked at the scheme to see some areas where we're getting attacked and why things are happening the way they are. Presented a plan to the guys and the solutions that we believe it's going to take to be able to get back to where we've been. And then obviously competition. Once we get to a place where we feel like we've got those two in order, then we got to make sure we're playing the right guys. We have some guys that are really close from a competitive standpoint, and we'll continue to rotate those guys until somebody kind of takes it over. That's not unique to us. That's kind of coaching 101. So, starting with us as a staff and then looking at what we can do to coach and teach better, and then getting our guys to execute at a higher level.
Daniel Olinger.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, coming in this year, you guys were a lot younger of a team than you were last year, a lot less experienced. Probably hasn't been the season you wanted so far. But what do you think, for this young team, especially all those newer starters, what they've improved on the most so far, where you've seen the most progress, whether it's a specific player or a specific just thing on the field?
Well, I don't really take a whole lot of stock into that stuff in the middle of the season. But I think we've got, we've been able to add, and we've had to add depth. And so we're playing a lot of guys. I think that's been a positive, probably more guys than we've ever played, which at times that's been positive, and at other times it's been negative because of our lack of execution and going through some growing pains that way. But I really love this group of guys. I think they're a terrific group of young men. I think they're working their tails off. What I've got to find a way to do is get them to take, the work they're putting in during the week, which I have zero issues with, and kind of get those, a lot of times I talk about a business trip and, just take that mentality into the games. We've been too inconsistent, and that's on me as the coach. And so we just got to get them to trust themselves and be consistent and handle the ebb and flow of games. We had opportunities to make some plays in Lincoln early that if we make those plays, we probably change momentum in an electric environment. And, in Big Ten games, we've got to get our guys to trust themselves and make those plays. When you do, you seize momentum, and, like every game, it usually comes down to a handful of plays. And when you make them, it ends up, really being in your favor. And when you don't, it makes it really challenging, especially in Big Ten play where everybody's really talented and really well coached.
We have time for one more. Patrick Andres.
Hey, Coach. The offensive line has struggled a little bit against Nebraska. There were some injuries. What can you say, I guess, either or both about the health of your unit and what they can do as we kind of we get to the second half of the season to find more consistent success?
Yeah, Patrick, again, it starts fundamentally. We've got to be able to have our eyes in the right spot. We got to be able to play with the right type of footwork and hands and pad level and be physical but do it fundamentally sound. And then, again, we got to look at the group collectively and make sure we're asking them to do the things they can do. But, we got a next man up mentality regardless of position. And if it's, specialist to quarterback to any position, guys have got to step up and play to their capabilities. That's all we ask them to do. And, I think that group has got a lot of pride, and, we've just got to continue to just work our tails off to get better and better. So appreciate everybody. Have a great week. Go White Sox, and look forward to having a fun homecoming week. Thanks a lot. Go Cats.
Appreciate it. All right, we'll get started with questions.
First question for Patrick Andres.
Hey, Ryan. So this is your first year in the Big Ten, and you kind of have the ill fortune of coming into a historically strong Big Ten. There's 5 teams in the top 10 right now. When you're looking at a tough opponent every week, I guess what can your team do in the second half to sort of stay consistent from one week to another when you have this succession of strong opponents?
Yeah, I don't like to talk about it much, but I think the big thing that I can say about that is I came from the SEC. So we played week in and week out. We played Florida, then we played Bama, then we played Tennessee. And we played big teams here in the Big Ten. And I think the big thing that we've got to do right now is just make sure that we stick to our training, that we stick to what coach has taught us, and that we don't band away from each other, because that's where it could get scary. And I think right now we're in a good spot. We're not where we want to be record-wise, of course, but mentally, I think the guys are still bought into this program. I know that they are, because we came in today and everybody's fired up because we get another week to play football. And I think sometimes we lose sight of it not being fun. And I think when we start having fun, it makes the weeks easier, especially on our bodies, because there's no doubt that this is a physical league, that these guys are going at it every single week. But I think that's just the big thing that we need to do right now is just have fun with it, and keep making sure that we're on the right path mentally. And I think we'll be just fine.
Austin Siegel.
Ryan, one thing I wanted to ask about was the Nebraska game coming during Mental Health Awareness Week. Obviously, a lot of stuff that you were working on during that experience. How did that go for you?
Yeah, I thought it was really amazing to see Coach Fitz and Demetrius Fields and this whole team kind of support me in that field, of course, with Hilinski's Hope. And I know it's not about just Tyler and our foundation, because I just want to make sure that it's focused on all of mental health in this world, that it's being talked about more, which is really awesome to see. It definitely meant a lot to our family, meant a lot to my parents for sure, but just having Coach Fitz address the whole team about raising three fingers in the third quarter, wearing the bands, having these shirts passed out to us, really meant a lot to me. And then seeing everybody this past week, with everything on their helmets, raising three fingers in the third quarter, it was definitely a really cool week. And I'm glad it's being talked about more, because it's definitely a struggle in this world. And I think it's something that needs to be addressed even more so. But I'm glad that it's reaching that topic of being well talked about, well conversed. So I appreciate you asking that question. Yeah.
Drew Shot.
Hey, Ryan, hope all is well. Can you speak a little bit about kind of since you arrived to Northwestern as a transfer in the winter, can you talk about kind of your journey so far now, starting the past two games, kind of how you have adapted to this system, grasping the system, kind of your kind of role from the bench into the starting lineup? Can you kind of take me through your experience and kind of what you were looking forward to kind of as the season progresses?
Yeah, it's been a long journey. It definitely has. It's definitely not over yet. Of course, the length of the journey is really about to come right now for this 7-game stretch. And I'm excited about it, of course, but I think it really just started from day one. When I announced that I was transferring here, I talked with Coach Bajakian over the summer a lot, during the spring, of course, before that, even in January, that we were trying to talk about plays and having ideas and all of that stuff. Talking to Stefan, before we even came here, talking to some of the freshmen before they even came in, just visiting with the guys. I think Coach Fitz and Coach Jake really emphasized that the guys here are the most important part. And once I get control of that, once I feel comfortable with them, which I do now, it's going to all flow. So, just studying the playbook literally every single day. I go over the script with my dad or my brother. I have a whiteboard. They say a play, I write it down on the whiteboard, and we just go through it 2 to 3 times a day. And then I'm here till 8 or 9 at night watching film after class, after our meetings. So it's definitely just how much you put into it is how much you're going to get out of it. And I've realized that now as I've matured and gone through the years of college football. You're not just going to go out there and be a gamer. Some guys are, but I feel like the more I study, the more I know about the opponent, the more I know about ourselves. I think it's just going to prepare me well for the games. And I feel like it's definitely translated for me. So I have Coach Jake to thank for that. Coach Scott, one of our QB coaches, who's also been extremely helpful. And everybody here on this team, all of the coaches really have just been extremely helpful in giving me the playbook, telling me what I need to do, telling me to be myself. And it's all come in really nicely. And I'm excited to see what I can do moving forward with everybody.
Drew, you have a follow-up?
Just in terms of kind of switching systems from South Carolina to Northwestern, what were the main differences that you saw in the two systems? And were there any aspects that came easier to you or more difficult in terms of the two systems?
Yeah, to say it, I've been through a ton of systems. So in high school, I went through three OCs. After I transferred from JSerra to OLU, we had 3 OCs throughout my high school career. Went to college, had a first-year OC, then another offense. Then I came here. So to answer your question, it's been easy to pick up offenses for me, just because you got to put in the work to study those two things. My sophomore year at South Carolina, it was more of a pro style type of thing, more under center, play action type of stuff, which we do a lot of here. But I really like Coach Jake's offense. I really think he's doing a lot of good things. I really think he's involving everybody. And it's funny because I'll go through the script every day and I'll be like, okay, I see what Coach is trying to do here. So the main difference is definitely just being a lot more active in both gun and under center, being able to audible some of the plays that we get, see what I see and be able to check it, because I'm just an extension of Coach Jake on the field. I'm just trying to get the guys right. And I think he's done an incredible job of making it fun for me. And this is definitely a fun offense. And I think we're just getting to what we're capable of. And I think we're right there. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, we'll have Jeremy Meiser up.
Going. Is it unmuted? Or? All right. Cool.
Takes a second for them to get the cue.
First question for Patrick Andres.
Hey, Jeremy. So after the Nebraska loss, AJ Hampton talked about this defense kind of needing to look in the mirror, sort of look inward after was it 56 and 7. What did you see from the unit? Did you kind of see that sort of introspection after over the bye week? Can you speak about that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, looking at myself is what I always try to do. Need to be more physical. My play is not where it needs to be. I need to control the line of scrimmage better. My pass rush needs to be better. I would say those are the things right now that I'm working on the most, things that I'm not happy with myself about. But throughout this bye week, after the game, on the plane right after the game, all night, didn't get much sleep. Those are the things I was thinking about.
Drew Schott.
Hey, Jeremy, coming in as a veteran after playing at ODU and currently leading the team in sacks and tackles for loss, coming in on a team that lost 2 starters to the transfer portal. Can you talk about kind of the role that you think your veteran play and leadership brings to this defensive line room and kind of what your impressions so far have been of your teammates on the D line?
It's an interesting dynamic because we have a lot of older guys on this team as well that have been playing a lot of football. But I mean, when you first come into a program, you kind of feel a little bit like a freshman because you don't know anyone, you don't even know the coaches, you don't know where the training room is. So it takes kind of an adjustment from that aspect. But I think it was cool because once we got comfortable, I was able to bounce ideas off of each other because I was in a unique situation of this is my 5th defensive coordinator in college football. So I've seen a lot of different techniques, a lot of different schemes, and obviously they've had a lot of success. So we were able to kind of bounce off like what they've done to have success and the different varieties of teachings that I've had. So I'd say that's probably the best aspect of it.
Austin Siegel.
Jeremy, what was the energy like at practice this week coming off a disappointing loss with obviously some time to prepare for Rutgers?
Surprisingly good. I mean, there's a lot of teams that at this point, when you have tough losses, especially one like that, in front of almost 100,000 people, you start blaming each other, start turning each other, people start to give up. But I haven't seen any of that. I think a lot of people were more angry with themselves than anyone else, which is the best thing because ultimately you really can only change yourself. There's not much else you can do. So from that aspect, I think it was really good.
And then just a quick follow-up, making that adjustment from Old Dominion to Northwestern, being in the trenches, getting into Big Ten play every week now. What's that adjustment kind of been like for you?
It's awesome. It's actually great. For me personally, the better my opponent, the better my prep. It motivates me more. I mean, I'm a person that believes that you have an incentive to do anything. So when I'm looking at film and I see a person across the line that is really good, has a chance to play at the next level, or he's just dominating someone, it makes me think, all right, I need to put in extra work so that I can play. And that carries over to my play personally. So I think if anything, it motivates me and excites me.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeremy.
Awesome. Thank you.